Technology has become a critical component of the digital advertising business today. How do you view the state of innovation of this technology today, and what's your hope for it in the future?
There's an almost incalculable amount of innovation in our industry, but far too much of it is minor. And because there is too much money, especially venture capital, kind of looking for a home, we find it alights on too much unproductive, minusculely segmented innovation. And so rather than creating step change advances in the way our industry moves forward and accomplishes things, it tends to create more chaos than productive advance. So I guess let me see if I can try and put that simply. We got a lot of innovation, but there's way too much waste in that innovation, and it's cascading. That waste cascades through the system and creates a lot of confusion and even chaos. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example because we're dealing with it every day. The industry as a whole, through a very well-run, structured and well-structured process led by the IAB, the 4As, and the ANA, agreed to change the currency in digital media and advertising to the viewable impression from the served impression. This is based on just a remarkably good consulting job, led by Bain, and we had teams of about 90 people from across agencies and publishers and marketers saying, not only is this a good idea, it's a necessary idea, because you can't, without it, you could never make digital advertising comparable or plannable with other media. We would always remain kind of a direct response ghetto. So we've been doing it. It's hard technically, it's hard in terms of process. But we're now towards the end game of making that happen. But one of the things that's really been a stumbling block is I believe right now, 17 accredited viewability vendors in the field, and many more, at least a dozen more, in the pipeline to be accredited by the MRC. And they have different processes, different technologies, they come to different conclusions, they do different things, but they're all out there marketing themselves as the solution to making viewability happen. And instead of being the solution, this proliferation of vendors has been an utter obstacle. They've just confused everybody. So what do you do about it? Well, in the US, where we have pretty strong antitrust laws, we can't really do anything about it. But it is frustrating that you have a venture capital industry that would finance so many companies of so little importance in the grand scheme of things. And they are, by creating that kind of chaos and confusion in the marketplace, they're actually adding expense to a decision and a set of processes that are supposed to be creating efficiencies in the marketplace. So that's just one small example. We've seen this happen over and over and over again in our industry. Happened a couple of years ago with the craze around ad verification, where one day you turned around and there were about 70 companies doing ad verification. Basically saying, oh, your impression actually ran in the place you said it was going to run. Did the world need 70 of these companies? No. Did money need to go to 70 of these companies? Absolutely not. How can I say that? Because basically there's not one doing it today. It all got embedded into other systems. These were features, they weren't companies. So they kind of got absorbed into other places.
They're products, really.
Yeah, they're products. And so that's kind of the problem with innovation in our industry, that what venture capital has done is essentially finance the outsourcing of the R&D function. Now, from an options pricing standpoint, this actually makes a lot of sense. Why should an individual company take on all the costs of R&D on its own, when all that's going to do is narrow its opportunity to make investments. Why not let others do the financing? Effectively, you can spread your bets as an individual company across the entire marketplace. Yes, anything that you might want to buy and integrate at the back end will be more expensive, but in theory at least, your total R&D expenditure will be much less and will be more efficiently allocated than it would have been otherwise. The problem with that analysis is that each one of these little features or little products, in order to get attention in the marketplace, it has to turn itself into a company. So a lot of the money that they get from the VCs is, instead of just being invested in research and development, a lot of it goes into hiring salespeople. A lot of it goes into hiring marketing and PR people. A lot of it goes into hiring HR people, and a lot of it goes into paying for real estate. That's all good from a total employment basis, but if you look from the vantage point of our industry, that's a lot of redundant expenditure on unnecessary functions outside of R&D. So,
and of course, we need talented people so that it is a nice pool for those people. But frankly, a lot of these companies aren't going to be around in 3 or 4 years.
Right. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It creates opportunity. It creates jobs. I mean, I'm never going to complain about anything that creates jobs, but it also creates a lot of inefficiency and a lot of unproductive investment that would be better allocated elsewhere.
Right.